Imagine living in a world where your private life wasn't private at all, where proving your love, your loyalty, or even your fertility meant performing in front of an audience. Sounds insane, right? Well, history is full of shocking rituals that make today's customs look tame. And some are so bizarre. You'll wonder how people ever thought they were normal. In this video, we're uncovering 5 of the strangest sexual rituals from history. And trust me, number 3 will leave you speechless. For thousands of years, cultures around the world tied sex to spirituality, fertility, and even politics. What's private to us today was often sacred, public, and sometimes terrifying. So buckle up as we travel back in time and prepare to be amazed, horrified, and maybe even a little disturbed. Ritual number 1. Ancient Greece's fertility festivals. When you think of ancient Greece, you probably imagine philosophers' temples, maybe the Olympics. But behind the marble statues and philosophy, the Greeks had festivals that were anything but civilized. One of the wildest was the Dionysian fertility rites, dedicated to Dionysus, the god of wine and ecstasy. Entire communities gathered for celebrations filled with drinking, dancing, and desire. These acts weren't hidden in secret. They were done publicly as offerings to the gods. People believed this chaos would bless the land with fertility and ensure a strong harvest. Picture a city square alive with music and laughter, boundaries erased, everyone swept up in the moment. To them, it was worship. To us, it feels like madness. But maybe that was the point. Ritual number 2. Egypt's sacred Nile ceremony. The Nile River wasn't just water to the Egyptians, it was life itself. They believed its yearly flood, which kept the land fertile, was tied to human fertility. At the festival of Min, the god of fertility, pharaohs and priests performed rituals meant to prove virility and ensure the land would prosper. Some accounts suggest these ceremonies were symbolic, while others describe far more graphic acts meant as offerings to the Nile itself. The logic was simple. If the ruler proved his strength, the river would flood, crops would grow, and people would survive. Sex wasn't just about intimacy. It was politics, power, and the survival of an entire civilization. Ritual number 3. Medieval Europe's trial by intimacy. Now for the ritual that will leave you stunned. In medieval Europe, marriages weren't just about romance. They were legal contracts. And to be valid, a marriage had to be consummated. But how could anyone be sure? Simple. The couple had to prove it, sometimes in public. Newlyweds were expected to consummate their marriage in front of witnesses. Sometimes it was family. Sometimes priests or nobles. And in the most shocking cases, the entire village gathered to watch. A bed was placed in the center, the couple climbed in, and the crowd waited for proof. People even cheered, laughed, or offered advice, and it didn't end there. If a marriage was later questioned, if someone claimed infidelity or infertility, courts could order a trial by intimacy. Imagine being forced to perform in front of judges to prove your case. To us, it sounds humiliating and cruel, but back then, it was considered justice. Ritual number 4. Tantric union in ancient India. Not every ritual was meant to embarrass or control. Some were deeply spiritual. In ancient India, tantric practices blended intimacy with meditation. These weren't wild public festivals, but private sacred ceremonies. Through breathing, chanting, and prolonged union, participants believed they could merge with the divine. Desire wasn't seen as weakness. It was a gateway to enlightenment. By mastering it, they could transcend it. Outsiders might see it as strange, but for those who practiced it, it was holy, a way to touch the universe itself. Ritual number 5, blood and passion in Mesoamerica. Finally, we travel to the Aztecs and Mayans, whose rituals were some of the most intense. For them, sex and sacrifice went hand in hand. Ceremonies dedicated to gods like Tlazolteotl mixed pleasure with blood offerings, creating what they believed was the ultimate gift to the gods. Some rituals even involved piercing the body in intimate ways, mingling blood with fertility rites. Brutal, yes. But to them, this wasn't cruelty. It was sacred duty, a way of sustaining the balance of the universe. So, what do these rituals tell us? From the drunken festivals of Greece to Egypt's Nile ceremonies, from Europe's public wedding beds to India's sacred tantra and the blood-soaked rites of Mesoamerica, history shows that sex was never just about intimacy. It was about survival, power, faith, and control. They may sound bizarre, even disturbing, but they remind us of something important. What feels normal today is only another chapter in humanity's strange, ever-changing story. So, which ritual shocked you the most?